Welcome to another episode of Modern Latina in Midlife. Today, I've got a juicy episode for you. This was complete girlfriend talk. We talked about intimacy, we talked about sex and desire at this stage in life, and you're gonna love this one. If you are listening to this on a podcast, I suggest that you later go watch it on YouTube so that you can see some of the products that Rebecca showed us and that we talked about. These are sexual intimacy products. So you'll want to see that. Let me tell you a little bit about Rebecca so we can get right into it. Born and raised in the Bay Area, Rebecca Alvarez Story is a sexologist and founder of Bloomy, an intimacy company that creates inclusive sex education and clean intimacy products for all bodies that help you get in the mood. Rebecca is breaking barriers for herself and her community as she is one of the few Latina entrepreneurs in the country to secure more than $3 million in funding for her company, the first Latina to launch an intimacy brand in Target nationwide, and created the first sexual wellness major at the University of California, Berkeley. She is also a recognized national sexual wellness and intimacy expert and frequently contributes to the country's largest media outlets, including E!, The Cut, and Business Insider, to name a few. She is a proud mother, wife, and Latina of Mexican descent. She currently resides in Oakland, California, and when she's not leading her company, you can find her in nature, spending time with her family, painting, or salsa dancing. Let's welcome Rebecca to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Rebecca. I'm thrilled that you are here. As soon as I met you, I knew you were somebody that was really going places, and you were one of the first people I thought about when I was thinking about bringing on guests. So
Love
I'm
it.
thrilled to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Sonia. I'm excited. I know this is going to be a good, like almost girl talk vibe.
Yes, I'm super excited. I've been telling my friends about this for months, so I'm glad we're finally here. So please share with us what you do as this sexologist role and what inspired you to follow this path.
Of course. So I am a sexologist, which means that I have studied human sexuality a lot. I went to Cal and created the first sexual wellness major there because they had great classes but no major. That was
Mhm,
fun. And
mhm,
then I decided to dive even like more into the space. So I have a master's in human sexuality and I focus specifically on arousal and desire.
mhm,
I was inspired to go into this space for so many reasons, but I think ultimately not getting information as a young adult like really impacted my confidence and the way that I like navigated relationships was so like up and down to me. And I felt that the more classes that I took just for fun, the more that I was like grounding myself and setting good boundaries and learning my body. It was just, it started to become to the point where it got just to be life changing. And I
mhm.
realized, okay, it's not just a hobby that I want to take courses in this topic. Like, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be leaning into. So the more and more that I learned, and the more that I think I was able to bring these challenging topics into a conversational way and like make them less scary or less uncomfortable, the more I felt like maybe I have a gift for taking that information and like giving it to community and like making it more mainstream.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, that's beautiful. I love that. When you started doing these studies and like say majored in it and became a sexologist, what do you do with that? You know, like from for somebody who doesn't really know like sexologist, like, ooh, that's cool. But what does a sexologist do really once you're done with like your degree? Is it like a therapy kind of a session? Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Yes. Yes. And I think this is helpful for people to know because I do wish more, especially women, the sexologist sometimes because it can be very like liberating and so good for just like your intimacy goals. Sexology means you're studying human sexuality, and a sexologist ends up doing a lot of coaching education. Sometimes like I've done curriculum planning with other sexologists for like school districts. So really just taking the concept of sex education anywhere from like children to adults. And it's different than sex therapy in you still have the same amount of training, but as a therapist, what you end up focusing on usually is more of like the the cognitive aspects of the issue. So for example, if somebody has like different desire than their partner, you could see a sex therapist and they could help you come up with solutions because maybe they uncover issues you've had and they focus more on the past and like where it's coming from. A sexologist is more of looking at the data and what normally happens to the body and then applying it to you and your goals for the future. So it can be a little bit of an overlap space, but I would just say if you're someone that's had a lot of challenges, maybe trauma, a bad sexual experience, a therapist could be really helpful. If you are someone that maybe has, but doesn't, has already worked on that a lot, or you don't have any like trauma moments that you're working through towards actively, a sexologist could be very helpful in like just taking your sex life to the next level.
Mhm.
And then in terms
Okay.
of the training, I'll just say this. As a sexologist, I was trained as a researcher, which
Mhm.
means that we studied anything from like humans. So like what is the biological response to this thing that they're doing or this product that they're trying? And we looked at the data, right? When people are having sex or getting aroused, or it was like very nerdy and you're in the weeds of literature reviews and HIV studies. So there's a lot behind it, I would say.
Hmm. Okay, that's incredibly interesting. So sexologists do work one-on-one with people?
Yes,
Okay.
I did
Oh,
it for
that's
a long time. I miss it. I do a little bit today just because there's some clients I like love
yeah.
working with so much, but
Yeah.
sexologists can be coaches. You want to make
Mm.
sure that you're working with somebody that like is really open about where they got trained. And so that's not
Mhm.
like like kind of a
Mhm.
hidden thing.
Right, right,
And
right.
then really just connecting with the person the same way that you do with any other coach or therapist
Mhm.
or like
Mhm.
clinician. Like, do you vibe with this person? Do you feel like they're helping you?
Yeah, that's interesting. Fun. Okay. So, as a Latina, sex was not something that we discussed at home. It was like, it was like very, esto no se hace, and that's it, right? So what was your experience like with your family in becoming a sexologist, and was that well accepted?
I think I grew up in a pretty like common Latino household in the sense that we grew up religious. I was
Yes.
raised Catholic, very
Same, same.
Catholic. We did not talk about sex.
Mhm.
My parents did have the like one awkward sex talk where I'm aging myself here, but they rented like VHS tapes and they put something on and it was I remember how
That's the
uncomfortable
cutest though.
they were.
That was
And it's
nice.
because, schools will tell you, hey, this is the week where we're talking about sex ed at home. Here are some options of things you can talk to your kids about. But it was so minimal, the amount
Yeah.
of conversation that we had. And also just being, in a Latino culture, there's a lot of, I would say, like unconscious shame that all of us sort of
Mhm.
trickle in from generation to generation when it comes to like seeing sex as something that's more for procreation or
Right.
not talking about pleasure and desires.
No, not at all.
That was my experience.
Yeah.
And I would say even with school, it added more because the school I ended up with for high school was a Catholic all girls high school,
Mhm.
abstinence only education.
Of
So it
course.
just, all of the
Yeah.
things that piled on, I knew that there was definitely more to learn, but I couldn't quite put my finger on why is no one talking about this until later.
Mhm. Yeah. Yes, very similar to me, except that your parents, in my mind, were very open if they put in a VHS tape and and did they sit there and watch it with you? And
It was so uncomfortable, yes, and it was after they asked me. And they did a great job
they
because that's the
did.
information they had. But it's looking back, it was just
Yeah.
embarrassing for a lot of
Yeah.
reasons. And I think now what I love to tell, especially Latina moms, is just because we grew up feeling like this, embarrassed, and we didn't really have the tools to start the conversation, doesn't mean that our kids have to be. So, like,
Mm.
let's be open. Let's have the small conversations, check in about it, like make it common for you, even if you feel a little
Mhm.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh, it's uncomfortable. I I have two sons. They're in their 20s now, but we tried to talk openly about like sex so that the questions could come up, but it was awkward, especially of a mom of boys.
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
like if it were daughters, it might have been easier, but a lot of times it was like, here's my conversation, and then I tell their father, you need to talk to them about the details. I
And
don't
it's
understand.
important for kids to have a few adults, I think, that they can ask questions to. So you can probably imagine this, but I am so craving wanting to share this information with my kids. But like most kids, especially when you get into like the preteens and the teenage, they don't want anything to do with their parents' advice, right? So I
Of
have to
course.
refer
Mhm,
my now teenager to friends and like
mhm,
my like her grandma. It's just because
mhm.
they don't
Yes.
the connection has to like be there and of course dialogue and like allowing them to know, hey, I'm going to be here for you if you have a
Mhm.
question and just constantly pushing that is good, but
Right.
your
Yeah.
kids find it embarrassing.
Yes, they do. And you make a very good point. Kids really don't want to hear it from us, but if they hear it from somebody else, it resonates sometimes. And, at least they have somebody else that they can go to. And so I'm 100%, when I talk to like my siblings or other people and they give me advice, I'm like, you tell them because
Takes a
it's going to
village.
go in one ear and come out the other. If I tell
Yeah.
them, it's going to land if you tell them.
Yeah.
So,
And I have seen where studies show that if a young teen has one reliable person to go to with sex education, it makes like I think it's like a 30% difference in like their comfort level. But if they have two, it like goes way up. So you do need, to be okay with us as adults like talking about it too. Like, okay, so if they come to you, like I'm cool with you talking with them about any topic, just having a
mm.
girlfriend, another partner,
Mhm,
someone that you can also have in your corner because it's important. It's
mhm.
important information.
Yeah, for sure. At what age can we stop talking to them about it?
Never.
Okay,
What's
so this
funny? It's
goes up.
like the age two comes up. Like people will ask me, when do I start talking to my kids about sex? I don't want to talk to like a 5-year-old about sex, right? And I tell them, of course you don't want to talk to like a 5-year-old about sex, but here's the thing. It's not called sex at that
Mhm,
age. It's like
mhm,
body education, or it's like
mhm,
boundary setting, or it's just making
mhm,
them comfortable with like what's okay, like in general, with
mhm,
their own like boundaries.
mhm.
So the
Yes, I like
body
that.
education starts when they're
Yes,
newborns. It's
yes.
not just sex. And I think sometimes we underestimate what kids are already
Mhm.
talking about. So
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
first checking like, well, what do you think that means? Well, what do you think that is? And then
Mhm.
seeing where they are and then starting there with like, okay, well, you're right. This is what it is.
Oh, that's so important. I love that. I love that checking in. I'm like, okay, how much do you
Where are
know?
you? What are we talking
Where
about?
are you? What's the barometer? I love that. Okay. So my listeners are mostly women in midlife. So 37 to 55 around there. We're going through we feel like teenagers again in all the ways. It's kind of crazy. So, one of the things that we're talking about is these hormonal changes that happen in this lifetime and what's happening to our sexual drive and pleasure. Are you able to talk to us about any misconceptions or common issues that are coming up around this? So,
Yes, I feel like there's so many topics we could go into, but I can
I
speak to
know.
maybe some of the most common ones that
Mhm.
I've encountered.
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
think
please.
a lot of times when talk to, and I'm 38, by the way, so I'm like
So
at
you're like
this.
there.
Yes, and where I'm like, I'm tired and I can definitely start to see the difference between 30s and 20s when it comes to drive and like being really intentional about things and really practicing like good arousal. Okay, so all this stuff. I think when it comes to our sex life as we age, the one thing that I think could be really helpful for women, especially to keep in mind, is that our bodies are going to keep changing. So we have to continue to rediscover what brings us joy and brings us pleasure because we don't have to do things the way that we did with the past relationship in different age. Like things are always different. Sex with a new person is completely different. Sex, when you've had a child, can feel different. Like we just are going to be craving different things as we get older and as we age with or without a partner. Depending on like how much we have going on with work can really impact like what we're craving. So being flexible with rediscovering is going to be really important. It's actually like the key to keeping desire up.
Mhm.
If you continue to like rediscover things, try things, be okay with like a new touch, a new toy, a new whatever, that little bit of adventure will keep things feeling innovative and kind of like fun. You don't have to do it all the time, but just as long as you stay open-minded to it, you may you may have a misconception that using a lube means that you cannot like have as much lubrication as you used to. There may be some truth to it as we age, but at the same time, like the misconception of lube, I also want to knock
Yeah.
off.
Yes,
Lube
yes,
is our friend. Like everyone should have a lube.
yes.
Lube is
Mhm.
going to enhance no matter what. But if you feel like you want that boost or you want like an arousal oil to help you with foreplay, there is no shame in like creating a collection of products that makes you feel good.
Mm. Okay. 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 So talking about the lube, how does this logistically happen? Okay, because I feel it's kind of awkward, like okay, when do I pull it out? When does it get applied? Does it get
Uh-huh.
applied to myself, to my partner?
Oh my gosh, there's so many, you could do whatever you want. What I think is most helpful if you're like a little apprehensive about using lube or it's not something you've commonly used is buy a couple, maybe one or two, and be like start to get a little more comfortable with having them be nightstand products. So if you looked at my nightstand, of course it would be different. Like I have all kinds of stuff there. But when I was first going into the category, just having a water-based lube next to it, if anybody asked, I'm like, that's my lube. There was no question about it. It's just like, that's for me. And when you're using lubricant with your partner, I think if you can bring them into some sex conversations first, like, honey, I would really love it if we could start using some products. Or, hey, I've heard that lubes feel really nice. I want to start using them together. Your partner, I don't know like how apprehensive they are to it, but they should be supportive, or you guys should be able to get to the point where it's like, okay, let's try this. And in terms of when, in the beginning,
Mhm.
anytime you're starting to feel like you're getting aroused, like anytime you're going to be using any penetration or you're going to be using like any motion, whether that's hands,
Mhm.
toys, body parts, you can put it on yourself and you can also put it on their hand and they can put it on you.
Mhm. Oh, wow.
It's a shared
Wow.
product.
So if you've already had that conversation, then obviously that makes it easier at that point to be
Totally.
like, oh, okay, let's now's the time.
Yeah.
Okay, can you talk about the arousal oils? You mentioned that. How does that work on the body?
Oh my gosh, I love arousal oils. The arousal oil that we have was the very first product we ever made, and it's still like a customer favorite and a top seller.
I
We
have to admit, you gave me one when I met you.
Uh-huh.
I haven't used it
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's going to be your homework, whether just in the
this weekend.
shower or this weekend.
Ah.
It's an arousal oil is a collection of oils and they put aphrodisiacs in it or botanicals that have properties that help with blood flow. And anytime that you have something that's natural that's helping with blood flow, what happens is in this area of the body, so in our genital area, if there's more blood flow, it creates more wetness. If you have more wetness, it creates more sensitivity and glide and it feels more pleasurable. So it's like a domino effect. It like boosts the first part of arousal. And the way that at least Bloomy formulates arousal products is we want to make sure that the oils are, they feel like amazing, like they glide on your skin so nice. Even just that alone feels really good. And
Mm.
it starts to really get you in the mood. The botanicals that we put in there are natural, and my favorite one is Damiana, which is
Mm-hmm.
an aphrodisiac flower. It originates in Mexico and like the Caribbean area,
Mm.
and it's really great for like boosting desire, and
Mm-hmm.
it also slightly can boost your mood, like elevate mood. So if you were to have like a Damiana tea, it could really help you feel nice and start to get aroused. If you use our product topically and you rub it around your clitoris, your vulva, or penile skin too, because it's for any gender,
Oh, okay.
you can start to feel those impacts because it gets absorbed into the skin and the body, and then the body starts getting aroused.
Oh, that's exciting. So, oh, I lost my question.
That's okay. The tea and the
Yeah, it got me all flustered.
well, I'll say this too. Like one thing that I want everyone to also feel comfortable with when they're trying these products is I want them to know that there's a lot of kind of sketchy products on the market
Mhm.
because it's a very unregulated space. And
Mm.
so do homework on the brand that you're buying from. Do they disclose the ingredients? And there's some things that you should never have in your lubricants or arousal oils that unfortunately are still common. So no fragrance. You shouldn't have any
Mhm.
fragrances. You shouldn't have any glycerin because glycerin can cause yeast infections.
Oh.
And then there's certain ingredients that irritate the skin, like they burn, and that stinging sensation is what the company that creates the products is trying to achieve. Like if it has like mint or if it has, it'll say like stinging arousal oil. I do not recommend those. I
Mhm.
feel like there's so many beautiful natural flowers and
Yeah.
extracts that can
Yeah.
gently arouse the body. So that's what we focus
Yeah.
on. We talk
I
about it.
love that. Oh, I love that so much more. Thank you for bringing that in. So, okay, so I remember now. So the Damiana, you mentioned that it helps potentially even with the wetness. That is an issue that I hear we're having a lot in this age group, especially us in our 50s. So that should help with that, right?
Totally.
That's
So what if you're able to, one of the things that I love to recommend for women that want more wetness is actually not even the water-based lubricant because the water-based lubricant, it will make you feel wet. It also doesn't last as long as oils. So
mm,
what I think could be really helpful, and this is like where I would love to talk to each person and we go through like what's
mm,
working, what's not working, but oils can be your best friend if you want like a longer lasting slip. So if you use, for example, an arousal oil, this is like when sex just starts, when you're starting to like get in the mood, you and your partner can use it. You rub it on you. You can use it kind of like as an outer lube. And then there's oil-based lubricants for
mm,
internal use that you can use when you want any kind of like penetration. And honestly, even the difference between, I'm backing up for a second, the difference
mhm,
between an arousal oil and a lubricant is a lubricant will help with the glide. So when you're having like sex and penetration, it will glide nicely. It'll feel nice. The arousal oil will actually help boost desire to help you get in the mood. So it has aphrodisiacs.
mhm,
Lubes do not.
mhm,
So if you put them together, like if you use an arousal oil first, in the beginning, you start to really get in the mood, and then you bring in an oil-based lubricant, you can enjoy intimacy for a long time, or you'll just have like a very like moisturized vulva
mhm.
after. Like it'll
Yeah.
feel nice. It'll feel um kind of like when you take a shower and you put like a really nice body oil on. That's how it'll feel.
Mhm. So you don't want to mix them together. You use them separately, each at their time.
You can mix them because they're both oils. So anytime you're working with oils, you can mix them. So
Mhm,
to be like really technical, let's say you take an arousal oil and you pump like 5, 6 pumps. You start to rub that on your clitoris, your partner starts being involved. You start to feel like you want to have sex. You now can get some oil-based lube, splash a little bit in your hand or their hand, and they can start also like internally stimulating or a toy or themselves if they have a penis, right? And then that's how you can collaborate and use both
mhm.
products.
Wow, this has been so informative. I have learned more today than I have all month.
I love
This is
it.
so good. Thank you. Okay. So, so how can then women, you talked about discovering, you're rediscovering yourself. Like women in this age group, we're finding ourselves with a lot more free time, with a lot more mental space, with a lot of time on our hands. Our kids are leaving the house and we're like, oh shit, who am I?
Mhm.
And who is this person that I married
A
20,
long
30
time
years
ago?
ago? Or
Uh-huh.
maybe we don't have a partner and we're like, so now what? So obviously there's all the things that happen. You know, we start to rediscover our hobbies, we start to rediscover ourselves, but a part of that is also the sexual piece, right? Whether we're married to the same guy that we married right out of high school or we're single. How what are some things that I know you kind of talked about it a little bit, but can you help us out a little bit more and how can we start to rediscover ourselves and our sexual freedom or I don't know, desires?
Yes, the how to rediscovering, I love that you're asking this. I think one easy thing that everyone can do is date. Have fun dating because
Mhm.
that's where it all started. And it's
Mhm.
almost like we should be doing this like throughout the relationship. We should
Mhm.
always try to date our partner or take ourselves out on outings that make us feel good. If you have time to enjoy something that's like downtime together and you get to have fun, that brings back memories and sparks and connection and like another chapter too. So whatever, and people will ask, like, where do I start? How do I do that? Give me ideas. And it's actually very simple. If you think about what were you doing when you were dating in the
Mhm.
beginning? What did you enjoy? Was it baseball games? Was it hikes together? Was it ordering Chinese food and like watching a scary movie? Like what made you guys excited to see each other and hang out and bring back some of that? That the throwback dates.
I love that. I love that. So okay, let's say for example, like I have friends that got married like literally right out of high school. I think one of them got married while we were still in high school. Um, and then when I speak to them, they're like, "Oh, this whole conversation about sex is like not like no. Like we don't do this for pleasure." We so it's very different from those of us who went to college and maybe explored a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And they've only had one partner and that's amazing. And so I feel like they haven't explored. How
Mhm.
can what advice can we give them? Because in the beginning when they were dating, they were very young and maybe didn't even know themselves yet.
Mhm. They still
How
were
what
growing up?
yeah. How can those friends how can
Yes.
we help them?
Yes. Okay, so a couple things. I feel like if you are in a long-term relationship that you started the relationship very young, whether you were a teen or like a young adult, you may or may not already have like a self-pleasure routine.
Mhm.
And if you do, like I have certain advice, and if you don't, I have certain advice. If you don't, um, and you feel uncomfortable with it, I would say I'm giving you permission to let go of the messages that you received that sex is not for pleasure, because I can give you so much research and data that shows you that it is also for pleasure. The clitoris is only for pleasure. There's thousands and thousands of nerve endings in that area. It's just a pleasure organ. That's all that it's for. So if you can maybe start to do like self massages. It doesn't even have to be like on your like vulva, like vaginal area at all at first. It could be like do you like massage yourself after the shower? Can you give a scalp massage to yourself? Can you like caress your breasts as pleasure? Like what can you do that's more that feels good and I'm just learning to enjoy my own body?
Mhm.
Sometimes it could be like dance. Like, do you want to take a dance class and get in your body, just ground in your body? And
Mhm.
then when you feel comfortable, I would love for each person to have a masturbation practice, whether
Mhm.
it's once a week, whether it's every day. Masturbating is so good for us. It is
Mhm.
good for us in a general perspective. It increases our confidence. It helps us feel less depression. It helps us feel
Really?
connected. There's like so many health benefits to it.
Really?
So, yes, and people who masturbate regularly, and that word could mean anything. It could mean once every other week, twice a week. It could mean whatever feels good to you. But people who masturbate regularly have better sex with their partners.
Hmm.
And I can go into why, but it's just, I think that would be the one thing that I would encourage everyone to spend time enjoying. Like, what do you need to have that moment? Like, do you
Mm,
need peace and quiet with the door locked? Or if you have no family obligations, do you need to set the mood in your own room? Do
mhm,
you have a
mm,
sacred space where you like to have sex? Like,
mhm,
does it feel sexy in that space to you? Like, what do you need? And then once you have that, consistently having time for yourself is going to be good.
hmm. Okay, that's good. So you said you might want to you can share why. Why is it when we masturbate that we can have better sex with our partner?
Yes. Okay. There's so many reasons. The
Uh-huh.
main one is because when you feel confident and comfortable with your body and you know how you like to have orgasms or how you like to be touched, that translates into your partnered sex. So
Mhm,
if you discover, for example, I love this sex toy on this setting, or I love having a really slow ramp up where I'm aroused for a long time. Edging, it's called edging. We can go into
mm,
edging. But
mm,
whatever you discover, you can talk to your partner about it. You can tell them like with your words, you can show them with your hands. And then you start to get some of that in that relationship. And I'll tell you this, like, it's one thing for us to like touch and like massage our body. It actually feels more arousing when your partner does it to you because you don't know exactly where they're going to move or how they're going to touch you. So it's almost like you give yourself the foundation, your body craves more. And with your partner, you can bring in some of the things that work really well.
mhm. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. I'm like, sorry, I'm like thinking over here.
You're probably
I'm like,
thinking of things
man, yeah,
visually, which is
yes. I'm like,
good. This
hold
is
up.
good. Yes.
Yes,
We
I'm
want
getting
everyone to be
distracted.
picturing things right now. That's positive. That's
Good.
perfect.
Yeah, I'm getting distracted for sure. Okay. So, are there other common changes that you see in women at this age group that you feel like maybe we should discuss or that would be important for women, in our age group to know?
I think we talked a lot about like the misconception of like lube and like if we want support and we want like more of like a boost, like getting rid of that stigma and just buying the things that are going to make you feel good. That to me is like owning your intimacy. We talked about that. I think another thing is a lot of us have like as we get older, if you had children, you now have teenagers or you have young adults. I think being a resource for them and being okay with the dialogue, even as they're adults, will be really beneficial for you too. So let me
Mhm.
give you an example.
Mm.
When I was in my early 20s and I was starting to discover this field, my mom didn't want anything to do with my conversation. She's like, oh my God, I can't even talk about that. Fast forward, now like 15 years of us like talking about it. I built this intimacy company. She's now like so open with me. We have the most interesting conversations. And there are moments where I'm still like, I can't believe we're talking about this, but I love it. And she has increased and improved her sex life so much because she's now like tried products, read all these blogs that I recommend. Like, it's not that we're talking about it every day, it's just we do talk about it. And I think both of us have benefited from it.
Ooh, that's exciting.
It's
Okay.
called it's called teaching up. So a lot of the like younger generation, when they're talking to their moms, their tias, their older
Mhm,
cousins, information gets shared in a different direction that we're not used to.
mhm,
There's kind of an assumption the mom and like the older women, we will teach like the younger children, but we also can learn a
mhm.
lot from them.
Oh, for sure. I think our kids are our biggest teachers. I mean, my parents taught me a lot, but my kids have been truly, truly my true teachers in this lifetime. It's been incredible. Wow. Okay. So then my mom needs to get one of your toys. Tell us about your product line, please, and how can these be used?
Totally. So that one that
Yeah.
you have there, I know people may not be able to see it. It's called Massage.
Mm-hmm.
So the toys, well, let me back up. Bloomy is an intimacy company, and it's one of the very few like sexologist led companies that we have in the country. So I really try to bring all the knowledge that I have and bring together a big community of product testers, whether that's like friends or people I don't even know, but they're very much part of the process to create really well received, loved products, intimacy products. Some of them are liquids where it's like your lubricant, your arousal oil. We have we have a wash that people love, and then we also have the pleasure products. So the massagers or the vibrators. And somebody told me this is so Latina of you. But when I was designing these toys with the team, I was like, we need to use all parts of the toy. We need to use both sides of it. This is like, I don't want a handle you can't use. Like, I need to use it all.
Oh,
So
that's so
they're like,
good.
it's very resourceful. I'm like, yes, it
Yes.
was. If I'm gonna
Yes.
have two ends to this thing, why can't
Mm-hmm.
I only use one? So
Mm-hmm.
all of our products are multi-use, which I love because you get to try stuff and explore. They're made with medical grade silicone, which is the highest, safest quality for your toys. If you look at almost any toy on the market, which is really sad, like
Mm-hmm.
96% of them, they'll say they won't tell you the material, or
Mm-hmm.
they'll say body safe, but they still don't tell you the material, or they'll just put silicone. Even
Mm-hmm.
that can have like really harmful plastics, PVC, things that are bad for the environment. So medical grade, it's the
Mm-hmm.
best one. And the toys are just meant to be used in a really easy way. We didn't put a million settings. I didn't want them to be overly complicated. So when you use a Bloomy toy, it's three power levels. So it's like low, medium, high, and the high is pretty
Mm-hmm.
high.
Mm-hmm.
And then three patterns. So some toys have like 15 patterns you can switch through. But what I hate is, let's say you love pattern 12 and you accidentally hit the thing. And now you have to like click through a million things. We made it really easy. We used three easy to use, pleasurable patterns. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing, just like easy products that you can enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also a little flexible. I don't have one with me here,
Mm-hmm.
but they give a little, so you don't have to be overly worried about like accidentally like jamming it or accidentally like moving it in a way that hurts your body.
Mm-hmm.
They do give a little bit, which is really nice to just conform to your
Mm-hmm.
body. We just launched Caress. I don't know if I shared this with you.
No,
We
no.
just
What
launched a
is
new
that?
toy. We'll make sure you get it. And
Oh,
it's
thank you.
a massager. It's a body massager, but it's very bloomy because the part that you hold can also be a toy that you use internally. So that's our
Okay.
latest one where it's more of like just a wellness massager, but you
Ooh.
can use it as a toy if you want to.
Oh, very nice. Okay, so the toy I'm holding up here for those of you who are not watching on YouTube, and if you are, you might want to go there to see it. So like this little product is the massager, clitoral and body massager. How where this does not penetrate. So where do you use this on your body? Like everywhere.
So that one is also like double-sided. There's like the smooth side, and then there's a
Mm-hmm.
side that has a little indentation and round side.
Yes.
That side, if you put it anywhere on your body, so let's say like the back of your shoulders, if you get a lot of tension there, or let's say you did like a run and your legs are really like tired, you basically use it as a little portable massager.
Oh.
And if you lay it on the clitoris, it
Mm-hmm.
it is designed perfectly to like nestle in that area. So you just put it on and
Mm-hmm.
it's turned on and you will feel the vibration all in the region. So it's
Okay.
also meant to like use like this on the vulva.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for that because I was unsure. I'm like, which side am I using? Where?
You can,
How?
and that's the beauty of it. Like, just try it because even if I say, oh, this is, what usually works, you can do whatever you want with the toy. It is that one, massage is meant to be on the outside of the body. So
Mhm.
if you don't like penetration or you're not
Mhm.
interested in always doing that, this is a nice product.
So what about this is for all bodies, for all
All bodies,
genders?
all toys, all products we make are for all bodies.
And so for men. Can you share how this could be used?
Yes. So this is the part where like the body massager. So my husband uses this one or caress anytime after he runs, or I'll give him a back massage with it and like just like really knead in there. Because with our hands, what I like to tell people is it feels good when you get a massage, but the surface area of like our thumb is small. So this one gives you another feeling and it's like thicker and like bigger.
Mm, very good one. I like that. Good point. And
Anybody
so
who
then,
likes the what is it called? The Theragun. This
mm-hmm,
is like a more
mm-hmm.
portable, gentler version of a Theragun that you can also
Ah.
use.
Oh, well, see, now I can say I'm traveling with it because I need to massage my legs.
Mhm.
Very good. Okay. And so then so you have three toys right now in your
We
line?
have, oh my gosh, we have four toys and one accessory.
Oh, okay. What's the accessory?
They're like stretchy handcuffs. If you want to use it for like
Oh.
playful sex, like BDSM or power play.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a
Oh.
few ways to use them, but here, I have them here.
Oh, yay. Show and tell.
Quick show and tell. So really quick, this is Caress. This
Oh.
is the latest one we just launched. This is the
Oh.
pleasure ball side. And then this is the side that I was mentioning you can use as a toy if you
Oh,
prefer to use
wow.
it like this,
Oh,
right?
I like it. That
I
looks
love
nice.
this for my back. These are our stretchy handcuffs. They're so cute because they're stretchy and they
Mm-hmm.
also fold in half. So they're just like a cute accessory. So you can use these if you want to practice like really being in your body and like your partner is like stimulating or like arousing, caressing. You can also put it like over the bed rail and then put your hands in so you're more restrained.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh,
But
wow.
these are meant to like, if you're interested in BDSM, which
Mm-hmm.
is like essentially power play, this
Mm-hmm.
is like a nice entry product
Mm-hmm.
to try out.
Yeah, it looks non-intimidating.
Yeah, it's just it's cute. You know
Yeah,
what?
they
It's
are
funny because
cute.
there's
Yeah.
times where, like we'll get regular sales of it, but this is one of the products that we get like 10 or 15 at a time that a customer is buying. And what I realized is they're buying them for gifts like
Yes,
bridal shower, baby shower, like bachelorette party. So I'm like,
that's
go for
cute.
it. It's cute.
I love that. Oh, thank you so much for sharing about that. Um, Great. Well, is there anything else you would like to share to the women, advice you'd like to give before we start wrapping it up?
I think we covered really great topics, but one thing I would just say is for anybody that's prioritizing intimacy, either this year or just like this new chapter that they have, it's very fluid. So whatever you're thinking you're supposed to do or you're supposed to be into, like just pause all of it and read the books that interest you, whether that's erotica or whether that's like an anatomy book. Like just get educated and like explore the things that you're drawn to because it will change throughout our life, like we mentioned. So it's okay to see our sexuality as something that is always evolving and we can be into new things all the time or not want to have sex for a year because we're more interested in whatever. Like, so there's no set rule. You can create your sex life to be whatever you want.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's awesome advice. So I know that your products are at Target.
Mhm.
Which is amazing. Congratulations. It's
Thank
a really
you.
proud moment, even though I don't really know you, but as a Latina, I'm all about supporting Latinas. So congratulations. That's amazing. Where else can your products be found?
So our products are also on Amazon
Oh,
for the
cool.
primers.
Hmm.
I used some prime yesterday.
Awesome. Perfect.
We also are in Saks, which is more of like a higher end store.
Mhm.
And the reason is because of the high quality, even though they're very attainable price points. And we're working on a few other retailers. So
Good.
still not to be
Okay.
announced, but we really want
Yeah.
to make sure we get these products out
Cool.
to as many
Cool.
people.
And they are very attainable. That the price point really is unbeatable. I've seen other stuff out there and it's like, oh, okay, it's a little ridiculous. And they look intimidating. These look very cute and they don't look embarrassing. So
you.
you've
That
done a
was the
really great
goal. And now when
job.
you have it stands up on your nightstand. So
Yes, it's
like your homework would be you get your arousal oil there,
ah!
that product and a good lube, and you're building your collection.
It's my homework. It's my homework for this weekend. Well, thank you so much. How can we support you? Is there anything we can do to support you to continue elevating your company and the work that you're doing?
Thank you for asking. I love when I can see people in real life. So please sign up to the newsletter on our website, thebloomy.com, and also text because if we're in your area and putting on an intimacy event, I would love to meet people in person. I love that part of the work that I
Mm,
do. And we just launched the new product. If people want to support, they can buy it on our website, thebloomy.com, or gifting it to someone, anybody's
yes,
birthday or something.
awesome.
And then if they want to just connect on our socials, we try to be as good as we can about also giving lots of education. So it's not, I'm not a salesperson, I'm an educator
Mhm.
at heart, and I really want people to feel good when they connect with the brand.
Perfect. Thank you. I will link everything in the show notes. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Rebecca. I really
Oh.
appreciate your time. This is gonna be a good one.
This was a good talk. I could tell it was going to be good. I loved it. Very girl
Yeah.
talk. Thank you, Sonia.
Yeah.
Thank you for the work you're doing in these conversations.
You're very welcome. Thank you. All right, ladies, what did you think? I want to hear what you thought. Didn't I tell you it was going to be a juicy episode? She's such an amazing and smart woman, and the conversation we had today was just pure magic. So go out to Target and find the Bloomy products on Amazon as well. Yeah, let's make this midlife stage like not only the best chapter as we already know that it can be, but also the funnest. Let's find ourselves again and rediscover our sexuality, and let's make it fun. All the links are in the show notes to her products at Target and on Amazon and her website, as well as her social media accounts, her Instagram. So thank you so much for being here, amigas. Share this with your friends, your primas, your comadres, your hermanas. Share this episode with anybody who can use a little help in this area, which is all of us. Thank you so much for being here. Hasta la próxima.